You are the one who initiated English here. Why English?
I always wanted to be an army officer.
Being an English teacher is, I think, tougher than the science teacher.
Gohar, we will give you charge, but we will not pay you salary. What's your name, boy? How are you?
My name is Sarfaraz.
Science teachers, they usually deliver their lectures. They demonstrate things on the board or in the lab.
How do you motivate your students?
Either you speak correct or incorrect. See, there is no good or bad English.
They do not know their native, like
Yes.
Sindhi or Urdu. They do not know exactly. Then what is walk and talk? At first, teach me. 6 महीने में डॉक्टर बनिए.
It was a wonderful session and we enjoyed a lot.
Hi guys, my name is RJ Noor, as you already know, and today's video is going to be very exciting because this is our English channel and we have started, and actually we have planned for almost a month, I think, that we will start the podcast on different subjects and different topics and with different personalities. And today's personality is related to English because this is our English channel. Generally it is English channel, but it has some other varieties as well. But we thought that we would start with the podcast of English. So today's video is very much exciting and very much useful for you, especially those who want to learn English as a second language, especially in this area where we live, in Sindh or Pakistan. Without any further delay, I think I'm really excited and I'm really overwhelmed when I welcome this personality in front of me. And I have a lot of questions to ask him. I have a lot of dangerous questions, especially to ask him about English language. In this today's first podcast of RJ Noor Speaks, the one of the very much distinguished personality and very much prominent and very much talented in Jamshoro city. And I think we should start. This is Gohar Rehman. How are you, sir?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine, great. And thank you for providing me this opportunity to talk to you on this wonderful platform, where we will discuss on different topics related to English language, and we will inshallah find out.
Actually, I was about to give you a kind of very much excessive intro, but I couldn't because it's very cold this time.
Yeah,
See,
the weather is quite cold.
and how do you feel waking up in the morning time and being in this particular area where it is so windy and biting cold, especially?
Sir, as you know that since past 2-3 days I am not feeling well, and in such cold weather, going out to this place which is quite green. It's difficult to pass time in such a weather, but well, I'm looking forward to have a wonderful discussion, and as we will continue and move towards the hot topics, this will create a warm weather,
especially hot for the people of the societies because you are the one who initiated English here. I think almost how many years of your experience you have in English?
So it is more than 5 years by the way, but I've worked in different organizations. I've worked in Hyderabad as well and in Jamshoro as well.
Okay.
And I've worked in management side as well. So I will give you a walkthrough with my experience first, and then we will come to the topic.
Yes, just briefly, so that the audience should know that who you are actually.
Yes, yes, sir. My name is Gohar, as you mentioned before, and I have done BBA, MSHR, MA in English, and DEL course from Hyderabad as well. DEL is Diploma in English Language. Okay. So I've done multiple courses, and besides this, I've attended several trainings as well.
Workshops and trainings.
Workshops and trainings, and then again I have worked in management side as well. I've worked in distinguished companies, and nowadays I'm working in an institute which is a language institute.
Private or
yes, it's privately owned by someone.
Okay.
And besides this, I'm working. I'm as a government teacher in the morning, JSC teacher.
Oh.
So yes. Nowadays,
so at first the question arises here in my mind that if, as you mentioned, that you work in a private institute and as well as in the morning time government. Okay, what is the difference between these two sectors when you teach English, especially because we are focusing on English today?
Yes,
we will go for the general in the last, but at first English. So what is the difference? What do you find that?
So there is a very huge difference between the public sector and the private sector. Because when we talk about public sector, our target audience are usually students who are young, and they come from the background where they do not study the things quite well in
From
their
the
early childhood.
village
They are from
areas.
they are villagers, or they haven't done their primary studies in a wonderful environment. So they find it very difficult to study grammar or study those topics. However, when we talk about that English institutes in the evening, uh, those students and our target audience is quite mature. So it's easy to teach them in the evening, and the target audience of the morning is quite difficult to teach.
What do you want to say? Means what do you mean to say is the public sectors have the students, majority of students is they are so much into their native language, and in
Yes.
private institute they are from the affluent societies and kind of educated families.
So see, we have different classes in a society. Like those students who opt for government institutes, they are usually below that poverty line or almost to that side. So I have observed that the students who come to study they in government school, their fathers are either hawkers or vendors. They
Yes.
do those private things on daily basis and then they earn their
Persons of limited
livelihood,
means, we can
hand to
say.
mouth they are living. So such people, they do not focus more on their studies. Now since we have been hired recently, we are doing our best to inculcate that knowledge which students miss in their primary side, in their primary education. So it's very difficult to prepare them thoroughly. However, when we talk about the private institutes, students are already prepared. So they are
From their
prepared
families
from their
background
family
and
background.
all
Yeah,
this.
they are mostly from doctors' kids or teachers, or someone who belong to educated family. So it's very difficult to maintain both the sides. However, it's easy to teach in public sector, I would say, if we want to keep ourselves relaxed. But if you want to inculcate the knowledge or impart the knowledge, then it's very difficult in the morning to do
In the
that job.
morning.
And in the evening, it's very easy in private
Or in the
sector.
morning time, you have to just fulfill your duty. I think
It's
that
just our
is
job, so we have to fulfill it. And
in the evening time you have to really teach them.
we need to teach them. But see, teaching, I think in the evening is quite easy because
It is.
students are on their track. You just show them the path. But in the morning, you need to teach them everything.
From the beginning, ABC.
From the beginning, each and everything. You need to first see your target audience, analyze them, and we have different kind of student in a class. However, in the evening, you will find all the students are on the same path in uniformity. You need to give them just you need to teach them a topic which everyone will understand. But however, in the morning you need to teach different topics at a time, and which becomes very difficult for us. So we need to separate or segregate those talented students on the one side and the rest of the students, and then we see majority. If the majority is not up to the mark, then we teach them the topics which are easy for everyone. So we need to see the majority there.
And so, how means you just mentioned that you have done your MBA, then English literature or something, or DEL, I think that is
Yes.
diploma in English language. So why English? Means how did you become a teacher of English? Then what made you think like that?
Sir, the story is quite interesting, and I have shared this story on quite a
Because
few.
you would have been in a kind of
platforms.
marketing department,
Yeah,
MBA
yeah.
or finance or HR. You
I have
just
worked in
mentioned.
HR as well, and I was teaching assistant in a university. So when I was in institute, I was doing my DEL course. During that course of the time, I didn't complete my MA English as well. So I applied. There was a teaching training program in our institute. So I applied for teacher training program. So during those days, when I wrote the application, I mentioned in the subject part, I mentioned applying for teacher training. I thought it's a training program, and such sort of thing. And when I applied it, so
So it was related to English teaching
Yes,
program
English teaching
or
program. It
any
was,
general
yeah.
subject teaching English.
It was English teaching program, but it was teacher training program. So that was of 4 weeks, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as I remember. So I applied it for the next 3 days. Then they respond me. So later on, I inquired my teacher, "Ki, ma'am, I applied for that position, but you didn't respond me." So basically, that was a training program. So I was thoroughly focused on that side.
On the training,
So
yes.
yes. So later on, I came. My teacher asked me, "Ki, Gohar, are you serious?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I'm serious." Therefore, I applied it. She said, "Okay, I will talk to principal." So principal called me. We were in the meeting room. Our principal was very strict kind of person and a puritanic person who was very serious. And he said, "Ki, Gohar, we will give you chance, but we will not pay you salary." So I was
Chance
like,
of teaching.
teaching, yeah.
Oh.
So I was like, "Hey, why is he asking about salary?" because it was never in my mind. A teacher training program, if they are training me, why are they paying me? So I said, fine, sir, no problem. And then he said, after 2 months, I will pay you this much amount. I said, okay. And then I realized that 2 months, it means more than 4 weeks. So here, with the passage of time, I came to know that they've hired me as a teacher. And
Okay.
sir, initially it was very difficult for me because it was never in my mind that I will end up becoming a teacher.
Teacher.
Because
Yes.
I always wanted to be an army officer.
Oh,
We grew
you
up
look
in
like army officer actually.
we grew up in an environment where we would watch Alpha Bravo Charlie sort of
Ah,
dramas.
I love that
Yes.
actually. I
You know
was
that,
also
yeah, in Bollywood
fond of
measures
that.
are movies. So we was like that. So all of a sudden when I got that opportunity for the first 4 months, it was very difficult. I still remember those days, and I usually narrate this story to my students as well.
Then how you converted that army kind of
yes,
background or something?
if we are destined to be somewhere, our fate takes
We
us to that
cannot
place.
stop it.
We cannot
Yeah,
stop
we
it.
cannot.
But see, we need to be flexible, resilient, and we should be open to every other
Opportunity
dimension.
that are
Yes, to the
coming.
opportunity that knocks our door. And as it is said that when the opportunity knocks, you need to be ready. So I was ready. I grabbed that opportunity, and I'm happy to become a teacher.
Okay, so you started by this way, started teaching. So, what was the genre of your first student? Means they were intermediate level or graduate level or above?
Sir, they were intermediate level, and to be very honest, I was very hesitant because I didn't complete my.
And it was the starting
diploma.
phase.
It was the starting phase. You see, when you imagine to be someone and you become something of that sort, then you can face such things. I never imagined it.
It was
So
totally different
it
from
was
your
totally different
planning
and, sir,
or
and the institute is quite a famous institute of Hyderabad, and it is the oldest institute. And I was like, see, there was something disconnecting. This because
from your goal, previous goal.
from my previous goal and from my that imagination as well. Like
that you
whatever
planned
I'm doing-
something and you are doing
Yeah,
something else.
But I thought, see, I have this mentality. If I am pushed to face something, I always welcome it. I never say, no, I'm not ready for it. I always say, Bismillah, fine.
Whatever
We'll see.
comes
whatever
in our
comes, we'll
life.
see it, no
Yeah.
problem. So this is how I started. So it was they were from intermediate background. Although it was difficult initially, it was very difficult. I used to
Because they are
prepare my
mature,
lectures.
they are mature.
I used to prepare my lectures. I would come across difficult question and I had to answer it spontaneously at that point of time. So with the passage of time, it become very easy, and now alhamdulillah it's very nice. And
So
very
you
easy.
now became accustomed to
I'm
this,
accustomed to this profession.
profession. So, what do you think that being an English teacher is, I think, tougher than the science teacher, or being a science teacher is means what is the
Sir, I think,
comparison between these two,
sir,
science and English?
So I think whenever I ask my students, okay, which class do you enjoy the most? So they usually say, sir, English class. And then I ask them,
What
why?
are the reasons?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. I always delve into the details. If somebody is asking me if someone is answering me something in straight words, I always delve into the details. Why is that person is answering such a manner? So they tell me, sir, you always take our input as well. So we have this participatory class where they share their opinion, I share mine, and in this way we discuss. See, English, you see, we have to take all four sides together: reading, writing, listening,
Yes.
speaking. So we need to involve our students. It's a two-way journey. You cannot go one side.
One
But as
side.
far as science teaching is concerned, science teachers, they usually deliver their lectures. They demonstrate things on the board or in the lab. The students do
And
not
they take the
participate
test.
usually. It's that dictatorship sort of class.
Yeah, every time they have
Authoritarian.
the cramming kind of
Yes, cramming sort of thing.
thing.
Here we have to develop the nature of studying books, reading newspaper, Dawn or Express Tribune, or listening to podcasts and other TED Talks sort of things in English. So for such things, we need to discuss with them. We need to understand their mentality as well.
So
Unless
how
we
you-
understand that, we cannot push them to
push
go on that
them.
side.
So how do you motivate your students means into that? Because we are in too much into our natives, because we speak native language almost 23 hours. But when we come to center just for 1 hour and we have to be in English,
Sir,
atmosphere.
first of all, I always tell them that there is, see, we have this one stereotype in our society. If someone speaks fluently, he is a good speaker. I tell them that there is no good or bad speaking. Okay? Either you speak correct or incorrect. See, there is no good or bad English. It's
Yeah.
either correct or incorrect English. I don't know how do people measure that goodness or badness in
Goodness or
English,
badness,
right?
yeah.
So I tell them it's either correct or incorrect.
Even those people who do not know about their native language,
Yes.
they always pick the
Speak.
mistakes from the English.
From the
So
English,
even
exactly.
they do not know their native, like
Yes.
Sindhi or Urdu. They do
Exactly.
not know exactly.
They wrote exactly that.
So
So
how do you?
I usually, first of all, I discuss with them. Like, would you please walk me through again with the question? I just missed it. Sorry.
Actually, I
The
was
question.
asking you that how do you motivate and how
Motivation.
do you indulge your students into English when they are totally from natives?
Yes. So actually, see, sir, there are multiple ways. See,
Hmm.
first of all, there are certain activities that I first perform and then I give them the opportunity.
What do you mean by perform? Means
Performing, like
you act,
demonstrating. Yes, I
demonstrate.
demonstrated
Okay,
myself first,
okay.
and then I give them opportunity to perform it in the class,
Hmm.
and then they are ready for it. See, if like if we are trying to set a bar, we need to first reach to that bar ourselves, and then we can push them to reach to that place.
Yes.
We have been studying this thing. A student, a teacher is a good leader, or teacher is someone who inspires students. If a teacher is unable to perform something, he cannot ask students
Ask
to
a
do so.
student to do. Yeah.
So I do it. I always start with, sir, walk and talk. See,
Walk and talk. Well, yes, this
walk
is
and talk.
your, I think, very much
It's a wonderful,
famous and very
famous,
popular, because
popular,
I
yeah.
came to know through many students that sir always does this kind of activity,
Yes.
walk and talk, and I didn't know that what kind of walk and talk activity it is, because
Yes,
I
yes.
didn't know at first.
Walk and talk is a kind of activity that we hold on Friday and Saturday usually. So I ask students to walk from one side, from one end to another end in the class. Either I put the chairs or I ask them to touch the wall from one side to another. So they just keep
Is it
on walking.
necessary to touch
Yeah,
that?
yeah, sir. See, what I believe, see, when they stand in front of us and they introduce themselves, they are mentally ready. We have to say such things.
Such
But when they are walking, so their mind is distracted. Now they will speak their natural English, which will come out, naturally, and then they will share the things. And during that time, we pose different questions.
Okay.
Talk about the class, and walk and talk is a sort of activity where you have to speak non-stop. You're not supposed to stop it.
How many
Say
minutes or
whatever
how
comes
much
into
time
your-
it requires?
No, it just continuously
Okay.
speak. As long as you can speak, I open that stopwatch and I count the time.
Oh.
Students could reach to 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. It's up to them. So this helps us to enhance their capability to speak for longer period of time. Initially, it's very difficult for a student to speak 2-3 lines together, but slowly, gradually, when they enhance that capacity, they become good speakers. So this actually gives them the confidence, which in the future, when we go for hot seat and other activities,
Yes.
They speak well.
Okay,
So this
but
is okay.
even I applied in one of my class that if Sir Gohar is doing walk and talk, then what is walk and talk? At first, teach me. Actually, I didn't know that. Okay, so one of your student came in my class as a guest, and she spoke very good.
She told
And
me all that.
yeah, and she spoke almost 30 minutes
Wow.
without stopping, without
Wow,
any
wow.
pause. And I was so impressed that it really works.
They do.
It really
and
works.
Sir, we we always put this condition that we will not observe your grammar. Whatever
Of
you speak,
course.
just keep on speaking. We are not here to observe
your
your
mistakes out.
and such something. You just keep on speaking whatever comes to your mind, and I pose questions as well. Talk about the class, talk about the chairs, talk about the center, talk about the society, talk about something from your past, talk about your
anything.
school, your friend, your family, or your
Anything
occupation,
you-
whatever you are going to do in the future, your personality, XYZ, whatever comes to, even if you want to narrate a story of any movie, we are ready to listen, but in
Okay.
English.
But
no
that
other
should
language.
be from their choice. Means
Yeah,
they
that's
have to
right. Yes,
choose.
it's up to
they
them.
have
What
to choose
they have to
what the
choose.
topic
Like
is.
we want to, we want to close all those sites which they use as an excuse. Okay, sir, we cannot talk about this thing or that thing. I say talk whatever
Talk
you want.
whatever,
But just keep
whatever
on
comes
speaking.
in your
I don't need to listen any excuse.
Okay.
And then slowly, gradually, when we bring them that format. Actually, sir, another thing, the question was regarding the motivation. So there are other ways as well to motivate
Yes.
them. Like most of the times, I've observed that a few students do not want to come at all. They always insist.
That was my next question actually.
Sorry,
That who are just dumb and remain silent when even they come to the class and in front of the students, and they just remain silent. So what to say, sir? What to say, sir?
There is a concept, peer pressure. See, we have always studied it with the angle that peer pressure forces us to go to certain fields which we do not usually accept.
We
Like,
don't have the peer pressure. How?
yes. No,
What do you
now,
think that
now I use it. I channelize
this-
it in other ways. I
Oh,
channelize it in
okay.
other ways. Like,
What do you
if
mean by
if-
peer pressure? Yes, at first.
when I find a student is unwilling to come,
Hmm.
I start motivating his or her friend. I say, why she does not want to come? Like, she should come as well. The way you came and see how wonderful you perform, and then he or she starts
Getting
exerting
the
that pressure.
inspirations
So that
from.
peer pressure helps me
Hmm.
to bring that student forward and start and
And
make him
start.
perform, make him or her perform. So I have recently observed this thing. That this works a lot. See, when students are not listening to us, they listen to their friends.
Okay.
And see, what I observed, students, we do influence our students, parents do influence,
Yes,
but
of
their
course.
peers or the friends or the colleagues with whom they are studying, those colleagues have a wonderful access to their thinking level as well. They can influence them into doing certain things which we cannot convince them
We
to do
cannot,
so.
of course. Okay, suppose if I'm your student, this time, suppose
Yeah,
if
sure.
I'm your student, see, I'm his student and this is my first or second day. So, how do you motivate me for walk and talk and speak
Acha,
something?
sir, I will begin with.
I'm just the beginner and do
Yeah,
not know.
I got you.
Okay.
First of all, like, see, since you
Just
are
like
my
I'm a
student,
I'm
you are
like
my
this.
student. See, first of all, I will try to create that
No,
rapport
not
with
first
you.
of all, but just do
Yeah,
that
I'm
in,
here.
in a practical
Acha,
way.
acha. So, what's your name, boy? How are you?
My name is Sarfaraz.
Sarfraz. And in which class do you study?
I study in intermediate.
Acha, where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Thatta and Dadu mixture.
Wow, Thatta is a wonderful place. I've been to that place, and Kinjar Lake is my ideal place. I usually visit there with my friends. And on the other side, obviously, you will say something about Kinjar Lake.
Kinjar,
Or Thatta.
actually, sir, Kinjar, sir, Kinjar.
Acha, fine,
But,
fine. If you
okay.
ever got the chance to go there, do visit Kinjar Lake and do go to Makli as well.
This
It's a wonderful place to visit.
I visit Kinjar. I
Yeah.
visit Kinjar. My family, my baba, my ada.
Nice, nice.
So-
Acha, we shall do one thing, Sarfaraz. Why don't you come for the introduction session? Now, after this, I will call you for the introduction.
Introduction, sir. I have my introduction.
Yeah, your introduction.
Okay.
Like, I will call you on the stage, and then we'll talk, or either we'll put the chair and make you sit in front of everyone, and then slowly, gradually, we'll create that rapport. Once we create that understanding, relation.
ये बच्चे हंसेंगे सर मुझ पे.
Okay. So, further, sir, I am just coming to another point.
No, you have to motivate me to come on the stage.
I'm just no.
in front of the class.
Motivation is when a student comes to study.
No, I have come to you as for this study.
No,
for the
you have
study.
you have that but see.
Okay.
When we see the students' side of the story.
You see, I could not speak even a single word when you
got
said
it.
that
I
I
got
was
it.
a student.
But this happens with many of the students.
So how do you handle this
When-
situation
yes.
where I was?
I always try to understand a student's story. Okay, where does he belong to? How does he perceive the environment? Sir, I have seen many students who come from pure villages. Okay. There are a few girls who are tailor or they are doing such jobs and they have come to learn English language. They're still quite weak, yet they are doing their best to improve. We see Rome wasn't built overnight. We know about these things, but everything has a certain degree of certain level of impact. Like if they come in that environment and they sit and they learn something on daily basis, they may take more than 1 year to understand to learn English. But
It will
at,
take
at
time.
the end
It
of the
will
day,
take
they will learn. They will learn it from it. Okay. So different students come from different background, and their knowledge level is different. But slowly, gradually, they improve. They do take time.
Means is initially what do you start? Means from the beginning. Suppose if I'm just a layman, I do not know what apart
Okay,
from
you,
ABC.
You're talking about grammar as well.
Grammar.
You're
Yes,
talking about grammar.
apple, bat, and
Yes, yes.
ball. Apart
Sir,
from
first
that, I
of all-
don't know.
First of all, I always begin with the basic grammar part.
Which ones?
That starts with later.
Later.
Later, yes. What is later? How many letters are there? How many languages are around the world? We create that environment where we can bring all the students
why
together,
this English
so that
is,
they can do that
used.
research as well. They can do that research as well. See, if a teacher starts pretending to be someone who knows everything, then student will not fit in that
Of
environment.
course,
Okay?
yeah.
So we need to keep
We
that
have
environment.
many teachers like that. They
Yeah.
just want to expose themselves as a
Themselves.
huge,
Yeah, thing. So we need to
kind of.
show that we do like certain things, and we want you to fill that gap.
Of
So in
course.
that manner, so I always start with that later. Then we come to sentence, then fragment, and the complement, extension. Then we have certain cases of pronoun, and then verb to be, verb to have, and then slowly, gradually. After first of all, I spend a complete month on the basic grammar. Then I start doing basic parts of the speech, in which I just teach them only
Noun and pronoun.
pronoun
and
definitions and types of it, etc. Then I come to tenses side, and then I start
Okay.
the original journey.
Means
From
you
there onwards.
just collect the material, just
Yes.
like we can say that we just to collect the material of noun, letters,
Sir,
and all
English
these
language,
words.
see, English language, whichever topic you start. For suppose if you are teaching in narration, in narration you need pronouns as well. You
Of
need
course. Tenses
adverb of
even,
time and
yeah.
place. You need tenses, and you need other
Everything,
things as well.
everything
Yes,
that
everything
is.
connects there. So if all of a sudden I started teaching narration, students will say, "Sir, where is the part of the speech?"
Where is the part
If you
of
start
the
parts of the speech, then we have. If I'm making sentences, sir, tenses missing. If you go for the tenses, then they do not know the basic parts of speech. Again, you need parts of speech for the tenses as well. So all the things are interconnected. So what do we need to do is that we need to start everything with the basic part first. Basic first, advanced later on. Advanced required ample amount of time, so we can do it later on. First, we need to create perception. So perception is very important. First, make the student realize that this thing is important for you. You need to do it. If they are agreeing, if they are mentally ready for it, you don't need to always be
But
there.
how can we tell them that the English is very important in the society? Because nowadays
Yes.
everybody thinks. I mean, it's a
Yes.
general persona, or we can say the conception that science is the higher value than English. So how can we
Sir,
motivate the student that
sir,
English has some importance?
I think this is a fallacy, that one subject is completely above over the other subject, and it is. It's not like this. But see, I have told you a story before as well, which we discussed earlier, and I want to shed light upon it once again. That one of my friend, he once told me that the person about whom I'm talking, he passed PCS exam, but unfortunately he could not get allocated
Yes.
because of the interview marks and XYZ reasons. So the problem, he once asked me, we cannot use think in fourth form. We like think, we cannot use as in present participle.
Okay.
We cannot use think as
Which
thinking.
word was that?
Think word.
Think
right?
word.
So when I asked him, where did you learn it? Like, how could it be possible? We can use it, and yes, the uses are somehow limited, but there is use of it. So he said, I have read it somewhere. It is written that usually we cannot use it. So the word usually, he could not, yes, usually,
itself.
so he could not understand the meaning of usual word. Like the meaning, the exact meaning of usually
is the most simplest word.
Simplest word, but the usage, vary. How to use it? So usually we use when we are 70% sure about anything, we use it accordingly. So he could not understand it. So he misunderstood the complete meaning of that sentence. So similar thing can happen with that science teacher as well. Like we can when we start asking these people, then we can know much about it. But I believe that even if they misunderstand one word, they can misinterpret the entire concept.
Yeah,
and that is far more dangerous. Why do you risk the learning of students and yours in the first place? Because we are teacher and we should not compromise on petty things as well.
Just
So,
like in from first, I think there was a teacher of mathematics. He was teaching matrix. So I asked him what the meaning of that matrix word is. He said matrix is putting the numbers in columns and rows. I said, what it means? You are telling me in the terminology of mathematics.
Yeah,
You should tell me the meaning of matrix. This is the English
and what is
word.
the purpose of it?
Yes.
Yeah, and do certain
So
research.
then I told him that matrix actually means the confusing situation, we can say.
Right.
So these numbers, columns, and all the rows are confusing. That is why it is named after the matrix. Okay. So this is how I think we can incorporate our own native English language in that.
True.
And English is more important, I think.
Indeed.
Or it is needed in all subjects. Huh?
Very right.
Okay.
Very right.
So there is another question, but before that, we should have a cup of tea because we are feeling cold and.
Why not? I want it.
Meanwhile, I'm
really
asking
for
you.
Yeah.
It's a very sweet tea. I will serve you. There is my question that what we still lack in our society in respect of English language when intermediate students are teaching English. Many
True.
private schools and many private institutions in the evening
Sir,
have teachers.
this question is very pertinent
So
to
this
the
is for
topic
you.
on which we are discussing.
Hmm.
So most of the times, what I have observed, most of our institutes in our
Hmm.
society and in the Hyderabad as well, they do not take placement tests in the first place. So you need to take placement tests of the students to identify where do that student stand.
Hmm.
If you unless you know okay, what are the drawbacks or the shortcomings one student has, how would you be able to fulfill it or to fulfill that
Hmm.
need?
Hmm.
So first of all, they need to take that placement test in order to analyze the capability of the student and then fix him in any semester. And every center should have semester system where they can define their course, and that course could be opted by the students who require that level of knowledge. See, for suppose narration, we cannot teach direct to the student. So if I'm teaching narration in a class, if a new student directly come into my class, obviously he will end up disagreeing with
Yes,
me,
of
and he would
course.
say, "Okay, sir is teaching something
Which is
nowhere
out of
close
our
to
yeah
to my requirement."
require.
So the
And
requirement
he
should be
will
met.
also he will blame you that he's a bad teacher.
He is a bad teacher, and at the end of the day, he would start
Yeah,
sharing such things. That student was not, teacher was not
teacher
up to
was
the mark.
not good and
Yeah.
I could not learn anything.
Hmm. So
Actually, he could not learn.
he could not learn. And another thing, sir, in another society and other places, I've seen that they have different courses, 6-month course or 3-month course, and they will teach you English. Sir, I like.
How possibly?
It's not possible. It's not possible. It's completely, I would say, it's a scam.
Yes,
It's a
we can
scam.
say
You are
yes.
playing with the
Emotions,
learning and with the
emotions of
education. Yeah,
people.
with the education, we should not play it like this. And there should be a complete defined course. And like if you are saying 3 months now, what will you teach? Share those things on the
Of course,
social media as
yeah.
well. Like when you are writing, okay, we can teach English in 30 days. Now, how can you do it? Share that
Give us a
content. Yeah,
breakup.
break up. Okay, how could it be possible? Like there is no like
Other
I
way, I
believe
think
it's
there is no
impossible.
shortcut. We
There
can
is no
say.
shortcuts. Vocabulary
I remember one joke on this particular point. It's a Pakistani. Everybody can agree with me from the audience as well. There was a Canadian who visited Punjab University library once. Okay, so he was just looking at the books and finding and searching. He saw the book, title of the book, and he fainted. Then
What was that?
the Pakistani people very much, very much perplexed that he came from Canada. Now, there
How
is
could he be,
Pakistan is already
Right.
blamed for many things. Okay,
Yeah,
so after a long, struggle, they wake him up. So they asked him the reason. He said that I saw the title of the book and that shocked me very much, and I fainted. And you know what was the title of that book?
Yeah.
6 महीने में डॉक्टर बनिए. So,
Oh my God. So how could it be possible?
How can so this is how it happens in English as well.
Yeah.
6 महीने में फर English बोलिए.
बोलिए, like,
How can it be possible to
Sir,
go for the
Yeah.
second language?
No, it's not
Something that is not in your society.
See, if you are already very smart in your learning, and if you like, there are different types of students. I have seen a few students who are already good at English. They just need some organization of their vocabulary and their structures. You need to just organize it, and you are on the track. But there are many students who just need to first build their foundation in English, and then they can come to the speaking side, and then vocabulary, and their new structures, expressions, and there are many things in English.
We cannot make them
textile.
equal, huh?
So we cannot balance them both together.
Yes.
And most of the times, those who come to learn English, they're usually from that middle class or lower middle class families. And
And then when they feel difficulty, they come.
their schooling is usually done in like partially in English, but not thoroughly in English. They study somewhere in
the atmosphere.
atmosphere of it, because we have been teaching in government schools. So it's impossible to finish that in 6 months.
Yeah, of course.
It requires at least 1 year.
And
if you want someone to speak correct English, not good and bad sort of words, so you need to.
And
do
language needs evolution, right?
Sir, and remember that
evolutionary period of
that.
time.
Remember this thing: English is lingua franca, and we cannot take it lightly. We need to be very serious.
Just like a limited subject.
Yeah, it's not a limited. Yeah, we need to take it serious. And there are many books written in English, many courses, many things you will find in it.
But the language is vast.
Yeah, it's
Language
vast.
can go. It is just like a universe. Every
Yeah,
day is spreading. Huh?
it's spreading day by
Okay.
day.
So one very important question. Have a cup of tea at
Yeah,
first.
thank you.
How do you like this tea?
Yeah, tea is
It is
fantastic.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. The atmosphere is fantastic, and our YouTube
The breeze
postcard
is,
is very.
the wind is quite cold.
It's
Rest of
cold.
the things are fine.
Everything is fine. Yes, whenever we call the student for speaking, either for speaking, even when we make them write something, they always pose one point that, sir, we do not know the vocabulary. We do not know the words, exact words that we
Fine.
use in the language structure. So, how do you build the vocabulary?
So
There are techniques.
I usually tell them my own story. When I was in college, I started memorizing vocabulary words. So I started from school, but in college I was very serious about this thing.
How?
I started writing vocabulary words at the end of the register. Every register had its own, like every subject has its own glossary.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to mention it. So in English part, I would write that vocabulary words on the at the end of the register, and slowly first I begin with those common words that I usually come across. I would buy Saturday Dawn newspaper and I would read one Dawn in a complete month. And my focus was always on Young World's magazine. That was my core focus. So I would always
Young World
memorize
magazine
the
was my favorite.
yeah.
It came on Saturday, I think.
It came on. It does. It is still.
Still?
Yeah. It's
When
still.
I'm not in touch in
I do
Dawn.
encourage my still I do encourage my students to read it, sir. But I tell them that do not memorize every vocabulary word. Only memorize those words which
Relevant.
which you frequently come across.
Use, yeah.
Yeah, and then memorize it because that
Or
is
something that
new
is frequent in our society.
in our society.
Something relevant.
Relevant. So such sort of words you should memorize and then write it in your register, and then make one sentence. At least write one sentence.
Context is very
Context
important.
is very important. And besides, it's like those whenever you go for the advanced vocabulary words, do write such easy words as well with it, so that tomorrow, if you are unable to memorize the difficult word, you will have another alternate for
simple
it.
words.
So if you are
Yes,
speaking in front of others, if you are speaking in any debate or certain place, you will have plenty of the words. And I believe anyone who wants to go for the debate or English speaking, he should know at least 4 words for a single situation. So if you do not, if you are unable to recall one word, you can easily move to another word and you can use it, and then you can complete your sentences. And daily basis 10 words. Okay, this is the practice. This is our norm in our class, and we on daily basis the students memorize 10 words, and then I ask them the vocabulary those words and their sentences if they can make. Like I have kept this on them that I can instantly ask any sentence from any of the vocabulary word, and I do discuss with them how you can use it and how can you memorize this word so that you don't forget it. So I do emphasize on this part. Do make your own register, keep a register on one side, write grammar on the other side, start writing vocabulary words and keep on writing. Yeah, I still memorize vocabulary words. I still come across new words and I memorize it. And most of the times, the vocabulary that I have memorized, I don't use it in my personal life because there is no use of it. If I start using those GRE words, no one will understand. Nobody will understand. So we go for those common words that can be understood by everyone easily.
It is the I think mind psychology.
Yeah.
Psychology says that the person can only use 2 to 3,000 words daily, not above that.
Not about that. It's very difficult to remember all the words.
We can write as many.
We can write. And writing is another, sir. Sir, see, if
Because we think at that time.
we think
While
at that,
we speak, we do not.
sir, while speaking, you can instantly take a U-turn and change your sentence. But when you are writing, you cannot take the U-turn. You need to either cross that all sentence, or you need to just go with that flow. So you need to maintain. And this when you start writing, writing actually refines your ideas as well, and it gives a flow, a very organized flow to your ideas, and then you write it in a very step-by-step manner. And when you write, then a good writer is a good speaker. I believe that. And a good reader is a good speaker as well. But a good writer can speak wonderfully.
Or even interconnected. Good reader is a good writer.
Yeah. It could be like this.
Make another video on writing.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
I came to know that you have a very good writing.
Yeah.
skills as
I'm
a
good at
very
drafting.
student.
Yeah.
So you just mentioned before that the
System,
or
ecosystem.
something I
ecosystem.
only know the ecosystem that is for the nature,
Yeah, that is for the
but
nature.
I don't know about English.
Sir, we can. I've named it ecosystem. We can call it cyberspace sort of thing as well. Like creating a space around you.
Surrounding
Yeah,
environment.
we can call it Anglican space. Like
Mm-hmm.
these words just pop up in my mind.
Eco
So
is very simple.
yes,
I
so
memorize.
fine. So nowadays we see news. We can watch news. We can read news on WhatsApp as well. Every other person is using WhatsApp. You go to Insta, you will find many English language channels which share 30-second videos.
Citizen journalist.
Yes, and then we have you go to Facebook, you go to other platforms. Everywhere you find English language channels or entertaining channels that share news in English. So and then we have podcast. Podcast is a wonderful application, and there are many channels that you can listen to in audio form on podcast. So I do listen to podcasts on daily basis in the night.
Learning has a good platform.
Has a good film. See,
I always follow that.
most of the boys and girls in my class, they are cricket lovers. So I tell them, see, if you want, whatever you do, whatever your hobbies, align your hobby with your career. When you align your hobby with your career, then you progress. If you are keeping both the things on different tracks, then you will have to work hard for both separately, and it will take time, and you will never be able to create that interest in such things. So you need to align both the things, and then you will progress. See, I enjoy watching movies. I enjoy watching movies on politics, and enjoy watching movies on other things as well. So I prefer to watch movies in English. I would imagine different scenario and speak to myself here, and I'm talking, conversing with the people, and I would copy, imitate the style of those shadowing, you may name it. So I will do such things, and this manner I improved my speaking skills. I improved it a lot, and Alhamdulillah, I'm good at now conversing with the people.
Something that is common between you and me, because I watched Titanic movie. That was the first English movie I watched in 1998 when I was in.
The previous day, I was watching the video in which you shared that you watched that movie for around 33 times.
Yes, no,
Like,
it is
I was
33.
surprised.
Yes,
33 times a movie, such very difficult.
Because
I cannot watch a movie twice. I cannot watch a cricket match twice.
Have you seen Titanic?
I've watched it, but I haven't watched every part of it. Like I've seen some highlights of it. It's interesting.
Language.
Oh yeah.
I watched it in that way.
Sir, Friends. Like if I name a few movies, Friends movie or Friends. There are seasons, different seasons, and it's a very famous movie of. I don't know whether we call it movie or seasons or what.
Series.
It's a series, yeah. So series about that is wonderful for improving English language. Life of Pi is a wonderful movie. The Walk, Penguin, Madagascar. There are many movies that can be watched. Podcast application is wonderful, sir. And there are IELTS channel. Go download it on audio. Put AirPod in your ears and start walking. You walk and you learn.
Walk and talk.
Walk and walk and talk. Yeah, walk and listen now. So you can improve English in that manner as well. So there are many ways nowadays. If a person is saying I do not know English or I do not understand, so that is an excuse. That is an excuse. There are many ways now which you can utilize.
Another question, that is it necessary? People think that it is necessary to convert your native language into English, or is it necessary?
Sir, initially, like when I start, when I teach my students and a new student come in, I always start with translation. My core focus is always on translation, so that a student understand how to structure a sentence. Like still students are unaware about the English, how to start an English language. See, there is an example I usually give to my student कि मैंने मार्कर फेंका, ठीक है. So action किसने किया? मैंने किया. I was the doer of the action. It means subject, ठीक है. Then we have what was the verb? I threw the marker. फेंकना is the threw. The third part is on which the action was done. What was the thing? Marker. मैंने marker फेंका. This one example can teach you the structure of English language. Subject, verb and object, all three comes in this sentence. So I teach my students like this. Okay, this is how you need to put the subject, then verb and then object. And this is how we then translate that Urdu sentence into English. So this is how
sorry. Transforming, that is the actual way that you are teaching. But my question was that if you say that many marker
Yeah.
Subject, object, and then verb.
Subject, in Urdu, yeah, yeah,
Or even in Hindi.
yeah,
But in English, subject, verb, and object.
yeah, yeah.
So people, we have the tendency to convert as it is
Yeah.
in our native. Like, मैंने marker फेंका, I marker threw.
People do such things. People do
Yeah.
such things. But see, when we teach that formation part or syntax part, in
Formation
that,
is different, as you say.
yeah.
Everybody
So
knows.
we need to put it like this. But yeah, but I agree with you that one should know his or her native language in the first place. If you do not know your first language, you will never be able to speak English well, or you will never be able to learn English. See, the foundation of English depends on your native language. I would say it like this. See, how will you translate it unless you know one language? So it goes, hand by hand
There
with
are
that.
variations that are
Yeah.
used in a different way in our
Yeah,
native language
true.
that are different in English language.
True, very right, very right.
Just like Hest is West,
Hest is West.
it is converted in Urdu or
Yeah.
Sindhi. It is totally
Jal-
different, but the
yeah.
concept is the same.
The concept is
You
same.
should know the
Yeah,
concept.
true.
There was a ninth student. She came and she said, "Sir, our result has been announced. So I got out of marks in English, but I failed in Urdu."
Oh.
So
That
how
is-
do you deal with this situation? How,
No,
what
no,
do
no.
you- what
See,
do you suggest?
I always tell them that all the languages are very important. Okay? Sir, I myself is a polyglot. I speak more than one language. You know that I'm basically from Pashtun background. I speak Sindhi fluently. I speak English, and I'm learning Siraiki as well. I
You
do
are
understand.
very good at Sindhi. as well.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, very good at that. My Sindhi is much better than my Pashto. Do I regret it? I should not do it like this. This is injustice in my mother tongue. But I do. And even English is much better than Sindhi and Urdu combined. So I'm learning all this language, but I'm a student and I enjoy speaking different languages. So when I go to Hyderabad, I start speaking with them in Urdu. When I come across people,
Even the dialects matter.
Yeah, we
from
change.
region to region.
Region to region, diversity is wonderful. See, one should enjoy diversity, and diversity, you can enjoy that diversity when you know different languages. And you should know all the languages. Wherever you go, you should know the language of that place. If you are unable to understand the language, do not complain about then there is no inclusivity in that environment. If you want to become inclusive, you should know the language. See, if people do struggle. I remember when I started speaking Sindhi, it was my friends were Sindhi. They would not understand my language. They would find it difficult to understand my language, but they never complained that I make wrong sentences or if I speak Urdu structures in Sindhi. They never said it. I'm very thankful to them that I was able. And same goes with English as well and Urdu as well.
But this is the
So,
only mode of communication.
it's
If you
a mode
want
of
to express
communication.
your
Yeah, you need to.
ideas to anyone.
Yeah, it's okay. And you,
Who's noticing the mistakes?
Yeah,
and
who's noticing?
Or
And-
you are not appearing in
Sir,
examination.
sir, I was on the other day. I was watching an interview of Foreign Minister of Turkey, and he gave the interview to Al Jazeera. And when I was listening to his language, he didn't use any complex vocabulary word. All the vocabulary was very simple, basic. Even I won't say intermediate level. Basic grammar structures he was using, and he was conversing with that lady. And I was like, why are we striving so hard to memorize difficult vocabulary words?
Reading and
Yeah, and why are we making our language complex when the end of the result, the end of the crux of that this thorough purpose is that we need to converse with the people. So conversing, making them understand, convey your message. That is the purpose. And why are you going? Why are you going after those difficult structures?
So, sir, nice having you, and
Thank you.
I really enjoyed a lot. And there is a lot to talk about. There is a lot to converse about. There is a lot to gain from you. And but the time, we have the limited time. And I think you have the academy. And
Yeah, I
you
have to-
some other
yeah, I have-
priorities as well.
Basically, I have to conduct my
We have to
class.
end up, but next time,
Yeah,
inshallah,
sure.
when we meet again, and we will conduct these kind of podcast and awareness sessions.
Sure,
for the
sure. Why not?
students and
Why
for
not?
the society as well.
No, no,
This
sure,
is
sure.
only for the society.
Exactly.
We're not talking to each other. We are
Sir,
talking to the society.
I'm thankful to you that you have provided me this wonderful opportunity, especially thanks to you and Abbas, who has been standing here and he has been
Yeah,
recording
behind the
our video
camera.
behind the camera. He's standing there, he is constantly indicating us for about everything. So I really enjoyed this talk, and it was a wonderful platform where I could express my views as well. We've been teaching this language for quite a while, but no one has asked us such questions which you just posed now.
Speak your heart
And it
out.
was, yeah, I speak my mind as well. and this complete session was spontaneous, and I really enjoyed it. I was thankful for this wonderful opportunity, and I'm looking forward to be with you in the future as well. And inshallah, I will be hosting in any other session in the future, and I will consider you. You should be the guest of it, because you are no. Yeah, my questions would be very complex. Now you have provided me a wonderful platform. My platform would
My focus was
be
on
harsh.
English, but if you focus on me,
Yeah.
it is complex as well. Of course, it is complex.
Exactly.
I am complex.
Yeah.
So the last task, you have to say goodbye to
Yeah.
our audience, but in activity that you do, walk and talk. Just walk and talk and say goodbye.
Sure. So I have to stand up like this.
Yes,
Okay.
of
So, it was a wonderful session, and we enjoyed a lot. And now we are going to end this session. We'll meet again in the next session. Allah Hafiz, have a nice time ahead. Thank you for this wonderful time. Thank you very much.